All right, the original OG Bitcoin developer, Satoshi Nakamoto's closest friend, Mike Hearn, on the Bitcoin Beat live show today with Kurt Wuckert Jr. I want to talk about that, and then also an update to the San Francisco event for everybody, and a couple of other shows coming up here so that I want to break down. So, all right, first of all, on this CoinGeek event, what happened was Mike Hearn, he's an early developer, actually the earliest. I think he's the first guy. He's the OG of OGs. I would say he's a first-round draft pick. You know, if you were thinking about baseball, like high school, Bryce Harper, first-round draft pick, number one pick, other than Satoshi Nakamoto himself. This guy is a high-level dude, a lot of respect, no baggage, and, you know, a lot of clout. One of the things that's relevant about the show today that Kurt talked about was potentially introducing him to the Terra Node team and saying, you know, hey, Mike, if Bitcoin SV was doing 1 million transactions a second, would you be interested in exploring it? And he's like, well, you know, if they were actually doing it and there was that type of demand, then we'd have adoption and we'd be there already. So yeah, I would be interested, but who's doing the transactions? Where's all the transactions going to come from or coming from? So that was his questions. And they're very valid. Like, just because you have a freeway with lanes and, you know, open lines that can go, who the hell's going to drive on that freeway? You know, and that was really kind of his question. So if there is potential opportunity, I think he'd be very interested in coming aboard with the Terra Node team potentially. So that's could be huge news. And I thought Kurt did a great job at handling the interview today. And it was a tough interview, I'd say, because, you know, Mike Hearn he's an OG, he's a respected guy. And there's so much people with CDS, Craig Wright derangement syndrome out there, and I think Mike is probably one of them, that Kurt did a good job at avoiding Craig at all costs, because the moment that you bring him up, the red, you know, the CDS piles in, and, you know, they start seeing red and yelling and screaming, and nothing makes any sense anymore. It just people go nuts. They can't see clear with that when you have that CDS. So I think Kurt did a great job at avoiding that. Bravo. All right. San Francisco event is completely off for March. It is not happening in a public event. And so it's not going to be a public event. That's all I can really say. I'll leave you at that. There's no public event in San Francisco with the Terra Node CEO. Okay? That's my announcement for the event. No public event. Now, potentially there's going to be an April event with the BSV Association blockchain with the ambassador for China and Japan in San Francisco or in Silicon Valley. I did have a meeting about that on late Sunday night. So potentially doing an April event. That's still up in the air. On the meeting, though, I did also, with Cress, who I met with, Cassandra, you know, she kind of threw the idea about introducing me to the guy who went to the World Economic Forum meeting for the BSV Blockchain Association. And I could potentially interview him. That was a big deal. Like a couple weeks ago, they had the guy from, somebody went to the event with the World Economic Forum and did a speech. So she and I kind of talked about doing a show with him. That could potentially coming up. Tomorrow I got Ty from Babbage coming up it's going to be on YouTube. So it'll be published in the next few days at the latest. But we're going to sit down and do a interview style podcast tomorrow, and looking forward to that. One of the most important developers in the entire Bitcoin space, one of the most knowledgeable people at the very top level of Bitcoin in the world in history, Ty from Babbage, Ty Everett. In addition, I've got Dimitri with Tree Chat coming up. That's going to be next week, talking about First Amendment stuff, talking about free speech and how Tree Chat does an immutable ledger, how it can't be censored. Like sloppy Jack Dorsey censored everybody at Twitter and had a sealed indictment come after him to seize Twitter on a forfeiture, you know, and never forget the power of forfeiture with the U.S. government, because forfeiture to these people who only care about money and money is everything, you know, to a lot of these people like sloppy Jack Dorsey, right? Money and power. Forfeiture means the government seized his assets. They took the company from him. And they said, boom, you don't get this anymore, sloppy Jack. You're out of here. You censored all these people, all these Americans from being able to say what they want. And people died because of what you did. That was unprofessional. That was against the law. We're taking that from you, sloppy Jack. You're out of here. And it's not, they may not have charged him criminally, but civil forfeiture is definitely a real thing. Now, Tree Chat is supposed to be immutable, no censorship at all. All right, so I want to find out more from Dimitri and how that's going to work, where, you know, if I publish a blog, it's not going to get deleted and taken down later. Ben at Senti's coming up next week as well. That's going to be cool with Scott, 369 BSV. And then also, Lament has a launch they're doing. Daniel Street is going to do a show on, it's going to be an X Space with myself and potentially with Scott, 369 BSV, and Casey Nicole. We're going to talk all about what's going on with Lament, the creator economy on-chain. And yeah, that's the latest wrap. So those are kind of the updates. Exciting stuff. Bravo to Kurt. The Mike Hearn interview was badass. Check it out. I'll post it at the end here of this video. If you haven't already seen it, you can watch it. I'll post a link to it. And yeah, look for potentially something in April, Bay Area, San Francisco, on a big event coming up. But the one with the CEO of Terra Node is for sure not going to be a public event in March. All right, so no plans on that. All right, that's it. I'll see you at the top.